A long time ago, in a galaxy far away in 1979, Star Wars made its first debut on the big screen. It was a huge success, bringing science fiction to the forefront with its groundbreaking special effects and a unique cast of characters, with a story that stayed with us for years to come. However, in 1987, a few years after the trilogy was completed with Return of the Jedi, director Mel Brooks gave the world his own comedic take on the franchise when parody movies were in their golden years. And that film we'll be talking about is SpaceBalls. SpaceBalls to me is one of my personal favourite parodies of the late 1980s. Besides taking its jab on what Star Wars brought to audiences, it also became a cult classic among viewers, thanks to the meta-humour, fun writing, and of course the comedic actor Rick Morales as the film's own Dark Helmet. So for this one, I have decided to have a good friend of mine join in for this video. So here's RT Duellist, who I even showed the film a while ago to prepare myself for this episode of IronZaku Recommends.
Thanks for having me. When I first heard of SpaceBalls, the first thing that came to mind was a Star Wars knockoff. However, after watching the movie, I say my opinions have completely changed. I'm happy to be a part of this episode, and hopefully inspire you all to give SpaceBalls a chance.
Indeed. Now, to keep in mind, this will be a retrospective analysis of the subject in question, so there will be potential spoilers being discussed, so you have been warned. But to everyone else, hope you join us on this wild ride. Like what came before, SpaceBalls has its own title crawl, filling you in on the basis that a group called the SpaceBalls are trying to plot on getting their planet to have fresh air after the atmosphere was quote-unquote squandered.
So in order to get an atmosphere back to their planet, they decide to take the planet Duridia's atmosphere by any means, but without knowing an opportunity for them comes in the form of a rebellious princess, Princess Vespa, but not in the way you probably expect.
After that information dump and a cheeky stab at the end, we get introduced to this. Trust me, this is going to go on for quite a while, as this goes on for 1 minute and 23 seconds, making you look up and down to your screen and your watch, as well as the soundtrack popping up every now and again for comedic timing.
Once we get the long-ass ship out of the way, we get introduced to our main bad guy, Dark Helmet. Someone's overcompensating. For those who can't put two and two together, Dark Helmet is a spoof on Darth Vader, but with a comedic twist. So now that we've established the SpaceBalls are the empire of this universe, let's check on the princess that we mentioned before. On the planet Duridia, Princess Vespa is being forced to marry a very sleepy prince.
Who, I swear to God, by his design, he looks like a side character you would see from Shrek. Am I the only one in this?
Yeah, to me he looks like a descendant of Lord Farquaad. After learning that fact herself, Princess Vespa decides to run away with a gender-bent C-3PO, called Dot Matrix, and escapes by using a flying Mercedes, leaving the king upset and the SpaceBalls a window of opportunity.
It's at this point in the movie that we also get introduced to our two other main characters in the story, Lone Star and Barf, who are truly meant to be their own spoofs of both Han Solo and Chewbacca. To nail that point home, they even have to pay their boss, Pizza the Hut, a load of space bucks. And I think you can kinda guess who they decide to take a knock at.
Lone Star and Barf get contacted by the King of Duridia, asking them to retrieve Princess Vespa, who ran away, and bring her back home in exchange for enough space bucks to cover their debt. And so starts the SpaceBalls movie.
1 million space bucks! We'll be able to pay off Pizza the Hut! Gimme paw!
With that context out the way, let's go over the main cast of characters that we'll be following throughout the story. Because she started the entire movie's events, let's talk about Princess Vespa.
Sure, but honestly, she's my least favorite character in the entire movie. She's a real snobby princess. I like that she eventually gets some character development, but honestly, she was just really annoying.
To be fair, when you're a princess who has to marry this guy, you would be very concerned about the future that he might not be the best man for you.
That is true. If I was supposed to marry someone who was far more interested with the inside of their eyelids, with an attention span of an atom, I honestly would run out too.
I also like to think that the annoying part of her character is actually meant to be a personality shift from Princess Leia in Star Wars. She even early on in the movie has a very familiar choice of hairstyle until you realise they were headphones for a fun gag.
What? What is it?
Moving on from princess to bounty hunter, we have Lone Star and Barf. Why did they not go with the name Barf and Belch is beyond me. Let's start with Lone Star, the leader of the dynamic duo, and the knockoff of Han Solo. I feel like they made Lone Star's character very well throughout the story, adding a twist that they live in a space RV that looks like it's seen better days, and the fact that they are space dirt poor, it really adds an understanding to their characters, as well as an overall counter to our rich princess.
And of course, another highlight is his companion Barf, who was played by the late comedic actor John Candy. You can tell that both characters have really good chemistry with one another through the ups and downs that they have throughout the story. He's definitely one of those goofball characters you definitely would love to have with on your journey, though maybe don't give him the Royal Highness's luggage.
Checking in? What the hell is all that?
It's Her Royal Highness's matched luggage!
What?
Her Royal Highness's matched luggage!
And we have Dot Matrix, the C-3PO gender bend cosplay of the movie. Literally, her only role in the movie is to be the princess's best friend and Lone Star's cockblocker.
First!
We'll have none of that, mister. How far did he get? What did he touch? What did he touch?
Nothing happened.
What the hell was that noise?
That was my Virgin alarm. It's programmed to go off before you do.
Well, she's not as strong of a character as Barf. She does act as Vesper's moral compass, always trying to make sure she never gets into trouble when things go down south. And that leads up to the main highlights of the film.
Let's start off with the army of the SpaceBalls, and we learn it's a family business. From the generals to the cleaners, they are all assholes.
Who is he?
He's an asshole, sir.
I know that. What's his name?
That is his name, sir. Asshole. Major asshole.
And his cousin?
He's an asshole too, sir. Gunner's mate, first class, Philip Asshole.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
Yo!
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
I swear, we can't make this up if we tried.
A big surprise for me was Mel Brooks, the film's director, even starring in his own film as one of the heads of the SpaceBalls. So even he isn't afraid to make fun of himself, which gives us some really fun moments. But all pale in comparison to Rick Morales' Dark Helmet, Baseball's very own Darth Vader, if Darth Vader was goofy and incompetent. Now, when it comes to Darth Vader, the first thing you usually think of is the fact that he's an intimidating badass and takes no shits from anyone who dares to go against his orders.
Be careful not to choke on your aspirations, Director.
Dark Helmet, on the other hand,
I can't breathe in this thing.
is the exact opposite to what you would expect from Darth Vader. While he can have his moments of asserting his authority, for the most part he's pretty much a more comedic and less intimidating antagonist, but in a good way for the film.
Dark Helmet is the main comedic plot of the entire movie. Pretty much any scene you see him in, there will always be something unexpected happening.
At this point, we will also be looking at how the comedy is presented throughout Spaceballs, so if you haven't seen the movie, then there will be a spoiler warning. So if you don't want the humour to be spoiled for you and you want to get to the final thoughts, then click on the following timestamp that you are seeing on the screen. But for everyone else who doesn't mind spoilers or has even seen Spaceballs, then let us continue. Am I right?
I agree. The comedy in this movie is really top notch, with a combination of slapstick, humour, visual gags, and random jokes thrown in. The humour gets so meta, the movie even starts watching itself in order to move the plot along.
What the hell am I looking at? When does this happen in the movie?
Now. You're looking at now, sir. Everything that happens now is happening now.
And all of this is being done by the main antagonists of the movie, who just want to get to the main heroes on the run. Another thing I even loved about this scene is that if you pay close attention to the movies that one of the characters pulls out, you'll see a well-known couple of Mel Brooks movies he's directed in his time, like Young Frankenstein or Blazing Saddles. A very good nod to his career to anyone who's watched any of his past films, personally.
Yeah, that is one of the funniest scenes in the movie. But if I had to pick one of the funniest scenes in Spaceballs, I only have to say 2 words. Ludicrous speed.
No, light speed is too slow. Light speed too slow? Yes, we're gonna have to go right to ludicrous speed. Ludicrous speed.
Oh, definitely. I just love how it subverts expectations, thinking that it's going to fall under Star Wars by taking a page out of its book, only Doc Helmet to be like, nah, we're going ludicrous speed. And it goes how you expect. Speaking of the meta humor, a lot of the characters in the film know in a way that they're being part of a production. Like, sometimes you can see and hear nods, like how at the near end, Dark Helmet kills a cameraman and pretends it wasn't him.
He did it.
And you know a movie thinks it does so well when it advertises its own merch in the movie? I wonder how much that Schwartz ring is. 30 to 40 pounds for a ring, and about 80 pounds for both the rings and the necklace? Wow, even after 40 years, this movie still has merchandise to sell.
Of course, it all leads up to the finale, where the Spaceballs execute their plan to get some clean air. You're probably wondering, okay, how do they do that? Well, here's the kicker. I'll just show you how they do it, and no words can describe this.
It's changing into
A gigantic
maid.
With a vacuum cleaner.
So that's how they're gonna get the air out.
Well, that sucks. Okay, I'll let myself out.
We both could go on, but I think you all kind of get the point. The comedy is done so great for the most part, and there will be moments where you can't help but smile when everything hits so well.
We won't tell you how the movie ends. All we can tell you is prepare yourself.
Overall, Spaceballs is one of my personal favourite parody movies of all time. While of course it might have its flaws here and there, and I wouldn't consider it to be like this grand comedic masterpiece or anything, but at the end of the day, for a movie that takes its hits on Star Wars, it hits all the right spots for me. And compared to what Star Wars went through with the later movies, I find it funny that it feels more fun than the Disney trilogy.
I have to agree with you on that. As someone who's not really a big fan of Star Wars, I still really enjoy Spaceballs. I do notice the references and parodies, and I still really enjoy it. I'll probably still enjoy it even if I wasn't into Star Wars, just because of how funny the film is, and I'd highly recommend anyone to watch it if they can.
And that's why Spaceballs gets my recommendation. Thank you all so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please hit that like button, share the video, comment, and subscribe. Also, if you want to follow me daily or what I do, then I do have a Twitch channel linked in the description, and for that, my schedule should be every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday around 6 PM UK time, so I hope to see you there. This is IronZaku signing out. Have a good one. Bye-bye!